In the fixed gear scene, we have this concept of properly built bikes. They're bikes that look good, are spec'd well, and properly fitted. And one pattern of proper bikes that we see is they usually stick to either all black or all silver components. And the reason for that is it's really hard to add accent color to bikes without making it look cheap. But when we get too caught up in making things proper, in subjecting ourselves and our bikes to this standard, we tend to lose a little bit of personality with our bikes. So how exactly do we strike that balance between having a properly built bike and having one with some accent color that adds some pop and adds some personality to make our bikes truly our own? Real quick, according to my YouTube stats, about 54% of you watching this video right now aren't actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to watch more cycling and fixed gear videos just like this one, be sure to do yourself a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell icon. Subscribing is totally free, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Speaking of properly built bikes, a portion of this video is sponsored by Wabi Cycles. To learn more about the only bike that I own and that I ride on a daily basis, stick around till the end of the video to learn more about them. I used to think that if you wanted your bike to look proper, you either had to choose between all silver and all black components. But over the years, I've seen a lot of bikes that use accent color in very intelligent ways, and ways that don't make them just look like those cheapo fixies that appeal to hipsters at Urban Outfitters. It's really hard to break that all black or all silver component rule, because if you don't do it in a very intentional way, your bike ends up looking like you just grabbed a bunch of stuff from the parts bin and the entire build doesn't flow together as well as it should. And when I got this Wabi special and I was building it up, I was so upset that Wabi included a red top cap for a yellow bike. I thought it just looked ridiculous, because whenever I looked down at this red top cap clashing with this bright yellow finish, it just always looked like that the bike is from McDonald's, and it looked like a cousin to that $100 Walmart fixie that everyone used to make fun of. But then this red accent that I at first really hated on my bike started to look a bit more intentional once I got these heat-treated Nitto bars that have this little red stripe on here. And then it started to look even more intentional, and I would say even almost good, once I put my tail light on my bike. And the thing that tied all these red accent pieces together were the red Toshi straps. I actually just got the red Toshis because you can't find the black ones anymore. Now, with the red top cap, the red bar sticker, and the red taillight and Toshis, I have somehow successfully added an accent color on my bike in a way that is subtle, classy, looks good, at least in my eyes, gives my bike more personality, all on accident. Now, I'm not an artist by a long shot, but I did take an art class in the 7th grade, so I at least have a vague idea of why some colors go together and some colors don't. Colors that look good together are called color groups. And you can think of color groups as a theme for your bike in order to make it look good with different colors that aren't just your frame's color black and silver. The two most popular color groups that you'll see applied to bike builds will be the monochromatic and the complementary color groups. Monochrome means that everything is the same color of different shades. I'm not sure if I'm using that term right, but let's go with that. Second, there's the complementary color group. So you pick one color, and directly across from the color wheel is its complementary color. And it adds a lot of punch, vibrance, and contrast without feeling too scattered and overwhelming. And there's a bunch more color groups that look great together, like triadic colors, which is kind of what I'm doing on my bike. It's 3 colors on the color wheel equally spaced from each other. And on my bike, I have red and yellow, which is 2 parts of the triadic color wheel of red, yellow, and blue, the primary colors, which is why it accidentally looks good together. You should ask yourself, what vibe do you want your bike to have? Each color comes pre-packaged with a set of emotions when we look at it. A few weeks ago, my friend Hao, the owner of Faith Gear in Taipei, sent me one of the most beautiful chain rings that I've ever laid eyes on. I asked you guys in a poll over on Instagram whether I should install it on my yellow Wabi or whether I should be patient and wait for the purple Wabi specials to come in, where it will definitely look dope. And a grand total of 51% of you said I should just put it on. I've waited weeks to put this chainring on my bike because I have this gut feeling that it's going to look too busy. But because 51% of you said just do it, majority rules. By the way, the sparkly purple Wabi specials are now scheduled to come in May. So at this point, I'm just like, I can't wait that long. This chainring is too sweet not to use. Don't get me wrong, the chainring with the Izumi Super Toughness, they look phenomenal, and they even look really great on the Sugino 75s. The problem is the whole rest of the bike. The first thing you need to avoid is too many colors. This chainring added 2 accent colors on my bike, but none of those accent colors are anywhere else on the bike. So all of your attention goes to that pink and purple chainring, and it just seems to stick out like a sore thumb. Too many colors looks chaotic. It doesn't flow well with the red accents and the yellow primary color of my build. Another thing you should definitely avoid when trying to add accent color is having too many parts that are the accent color. Take a look at this bike. All the purple parts are color matched, anodized, but it still looks bad in my eyes. There's no focal point on the bike anymore. Your eyes don't know where to go. They just scatter from purple point to purple point. It just doesn't make a good build when there's too many parts. The same goes for my bike. Originally, the red accents flowed in a nice triangular pattern, but now the red is clashing with the purple, and your attention goes to the accent colors rather than to the primary yellow color. There's also some parts that, in my opinion, almost never look good when they're used as accent colors. In particular, colored spokes, nipples, and chainring bolts draw too much attention away from the frame set, which should be the focal point of the bike. Because these parts have so many lines to them, the composition just doesn't work when you try to use them as an accent color. It becomes overbearing and offensive to the eye. The problem with trying to add accent color with anodized parts is that unless you get them from the same manufacturer, the colors are going to be close to each other, but not quite match. It makes it look like you just pulled these parts out of a bin to make a functioning bike, but not a proper bike. The anodized parts that look good in my eyes are either small or can be focal points in themselves. Small parts like top caps and valve caps can look good to add just that little touch of color and personality without being overwhelming. And secondary focal points to the bike like chainrings and hubs can also look good if they are anodized. You need to be very conservative here though and make sure that it's not clashing with the rest of your build. I found some bikes on Instagram that either use accent color well or don't use it well, and let's take a look at those to see what they do right and see if we can learn from that. Although it has a lot of colors going on, it oddly works with those purple accents. It gives your eye a nice compositional line to trace just straight down. And because they're all small parts and because it's purple, it actually complements the sunset theme of the frame set quite nicely. On most bikes, I don't think colored wheels will work all that well. It draws your attention away from the frame and kind of disperses where your eye wants to go. Super simple, super clean. It has some golden accent color already present on the frame set itself with the decals, and the builder emphasized that with some golden bar tape. And the Suntour Superb Pro hubs. What a tragedy this bike is. Too many parts, too many colors, too loud. That's a hot bike, oh my gosh. As a rule of thumb, your bar tape and grips should color match your saddle, but having red grips and a yellow saddle here works really well because of the accent colors already present on the frame. And it doesn't feel overly stimulating because the frame is predominantly white, and the fact that there's the yellow saddle with the skin wall tires on black rims to add some nice contrast gives your eye a nice triangulation of where to look around the bike until finally resting on the frame set itself. So here's how to properly add accent color to your bike. Number 1, pick one dominant color. The frame set should always be the centerpiece of your bike, and the eye should want to naturally rest on it. It's okay to have a few accent colors on your frame set, but make sure that there is one dominant color to drive the tone of the build. Number 2, less is more when it comes to both color and composition. If you build your bike smartly, you can get away with one accent color to add a little bit more personality. But if you're really artsy, then you can add maybe 2 accent colors at most. In my eyes, just a few key parts add a lot of liveliness to the build. The accent parts that look best to me are grips and bar tape, the saddle, tires, and straps. When you add accent color to these areas, it helps to frame the composition of, well, your frame set, rather than taking attention away from that focal point. Lastly, use color palettes. Some colors look great together, some colors look awful together. That's just a fact. And unless you're a great artist, you're gonna have to live with that fact. I've got a question for any of you artistically minded people. How correct was I? Because I feel like I was just rambling, and if you have any other tips for adding accent color to a bike, be sure to let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to learn how to make this chainring work. I'm keeping it, by the way, until my purple Wabi comes in. It's just too cool not to, even if it looks weird. Speaking of purple Wabis, this portion of the video was sponsored by Wabi Cycles. Every one of Wabi's design choices are meticulously made to give the purest ride quality for the money. And Wabi executes those choices perfectly. Hands-made by master craftsmen in Taiwan, and a friendly bike shop in Denver, Colorado that's eager to answer your questions and get you on a bike you'll love. Wabi's relentless attention to detail makes Wallace, my 58cm Wabi Special, weigh in at a slight 17.5 pounds or 7.97 kilograms straight out of the box. That's well under 20 pounds for a stock bike with a completely steel, lugged frame set and absolutely no carbon components. This attention to detail results in the best riding experience I've ever had, with a snappy, lively ride quality that only top-tier steel can bring. If you're looking for a bike that could very well put an end to your search for the perfect bike, check out Wabi Cycles linked at the top of the description, and if you can be patient, wait until May for Purple Wabi specials to make those nearly perfect bikes all that much more perfect. And Fixie famous shoutouts to Brandon Black, Kelvin Ho, Zane Kolnik, OC Bike Crew, Ryan Witt, Stand Strong 108, and Julian Corona for helping to make these Fix Gear videos possible through their support on Patreon. And remember that life is short, but don't make it shorter, so ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.